So, as we know, African youth do not have access or skills using sophisticated technology. As technology is one of the most crucial aspects to mitigate and adapt to climate change, how do you assess it, dear presenter? Then on finance, we the youth are strongly willing to combat climate change through various activities, but you may find that replies to our grant proposals are delayed. What is the way forward on that? At education, how do you support young people's projects after they have been educated?
Dr. Munga, let's start with you. We have 3 questions, one about technology, another about finance, and another about education. And I think in your intervention, these 3 elements are interconnected and complementary. But some of your thoughts about the question, Dr. Munga.
Thank you very much, and thanks to the colleagues who have sent in this question. I think we did touch on some of the aspects during our interventions, most of them. I think Siko, myself, and even Salena. On the technology, this is the point. Technology is needed. It's very crucial. But you need to also leverage on what is already existing. You don't want to tell me that there are no technologies in the continent. We're seeing young people across the continent in the work we do, fabricating simple solar dryers that are helping mothers reduce post-harvest losses. We're seeing young people who are assembling solar power irrigation systems, and this is building resilience in the agricultural value chains. So the point is, yes, of course, there are already governments that we are seeing putting in place tax incentives and what is called feed-in tariffs that are actually giving tax breaks to those who even bring in some of these clean energy systems into the country. And within the NDCs across the continent, we are seeing these captured there quite very clearly. But what I would say to the person who asked the question, leverage on what already exists and also is context specific as you then look how you can then upgrade it to fit into how it can address the challenges. On the finance, I think we elaborately discussed on this, that we need to also leverage on structures that are accessible to young people. And we said communal cooperatives are quite very key. And we even came up with policy prescription. I think SECO did the same. These financial policy incentives that needs to be put in place are quite very, very key. But what I tell young people to do, and we've seen these work at very great across the continent, is that they should come together, and as they join themselves, they should join these local cooperatives, and any little resources that they're making from what they do, they put there, then they can access a loan at a very low interest rate. We are seeing this with young people in Nigeria, young people in Uganda, young people in Kenya, young people in Cameroon, young people in Togo, young people across the continent. And these lessons can also be shared. And I think this avenue is one. And then on the education, I didn't understand the question because at the end they say after have been educated. So I didn't understand what was the meaning of that. Say, how do you support young people's projects after they have been educated? I didn't understand that, but this is what I would say with education. This is now about climate literacy. First of all, you sell a product, and the first person to sell a product is you who understands it. If you are turning agricultural waste to briquettes to replace charcoal, you are supposed to market it in a way that shows the environmental, social, and economic dimension of it, and people will buy into it. People, only you can be able to sell what you have produced. And if you are developing a solar dryer to help a mother reduce post-harvest loss, you're supposed to market the benefits and the advantages and how that fits within these 3 trinities of environment, economic, and social. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Mungan. Excellent. Sure. Thanks a lot. Then we will move forward with these 2 final questions. One is regarding the NDCs. As the Deputy Executive Secretary of UNFCCC mentioned, many countries have submitted the NDC, and also many of them are just finalizing the process for the updated. Then the question is how youth can be engaged in this process, and especially maybe in the implementation. It is the first one. And the second one is a question related to South Africa. And what role can the National Youth Development Agency potentially play in supporting young people? We have these structures in place, but they are not being utilized. Then over to Dr. Mungan.
Yeah, thank you very much, and to colleagues for those questions. I think as the Deputy Executive Secretary indicated, and you've indicated, Irena, I mean, countries are still submitting their NDCs, the second revised NDCs. And and this is important, in some countries, youth have been engaged, in some youth have not been engaged. But I think the focus should be at the moment, how do you leverage the already ratified NDCs in addition to the ones that have been now updated to implement in such a way that you can create your own entrepreneurial opportunities? This is the argument, because the problem of the continent is not just the policies. The NDCs that are currently being revised have been in existence for 5 years. So it's about implementation. And so my answer to that question is that the young people should look at what is in these NDCs that they can start to implement using what they have, and they use the data to force for a revision of those NDCs based on data that is coming out from the work they are doing. And we are seeing this where young people are using data from simple briquettes to make the case that we need more incentive. We need tax holidays from government so that at least they can be able to open their businesses and not pay taxes for a year or for 2 years. Those are very good signals. The other one on South Africa, I think Siko is going to answer, but it aligns with the first one in that institutions are not just buildings. Policy is the biggest driver of change, but it is people who implement policy. So if young people are not seizing on already existing policies and institutions that have been created to make the case and bring solutions to the forefront and ask for more, then definitely those institutions will be there and nobody will do anything. It is you and me to take initiative and play a role as you ask for more based on what you have already done. Thank you.
Fantastic. Then thank you very much, Dr. Mungahan. Thank you very much, Siko. And also to our other speaker, Zulu, who had some technical problems. And once again, thank you, Suri and Julius and the Regional Collaboration Center for this inspiring event. And we look forward to continue working to you.